Alright, so today we are going to be checking out the MN168 from MN Models, and this is going to be a 12-scale RC truck based on the 1970s Range Rover. You can see that this thing does looks pretty nice. Alright, so in this video we are going to be looking at the specs together to see what you actually get in the box. We will be doing some line of sight driving together to see how it actually performs, and at the end we're going to be adding a PV camera on the back to see how it feels behind the wheels. Alright, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so let's quickly run over the specs. So let's actually start by the exterior. You can see that this is going to be a 12-scale hard shell body with a really nice blue paint. I think this is probably one of the best MN models that I have ever seen, like in their product lines, because most of their products, there's going to be certain portion of the products that is going to feel like very cheap. But this one, the paint, everything on the exterior does look pretty nice, and even like those kind of original plastic colors, it's not really obvious, and it does feel that these are actually better quality compared to the previous versions. All right, as for what actually opens on this model, you can see that you get an open you get a hood that actually opens, and this is also where you're also going to be storing your battery. So very nice. I really like this design. Instead of you have to, like, you know, go underneath and trying you're really hard to get your stuff done. The next thing that is actually going to be openable is going to be the two doors on the side. So you can see, very nice design. Yeah, so these are going to be spring action, so which means that there's going to be a little spring in there that's going to control the doors to, like, kind of like when you push it to the level, it's going to close itself. But you know, it just doesn't close completely. Sometimes, like, it wobbles a little bit. So if you wanted to fix this, you can potentially add a little like magnet here to kind of like hold it. So you can see that this one is a little bit more obvious. You can see that it's just not closing completely, but yeah, it's not an expensive model, so I can forgive that, no problem. So next, you're actually going to get mirrors in mirrors. So this is actually pretty good because I really like this design, because like the previous ones, yeah, they just don't look nice, to be honest. But this one, yeah, I really like the design. As for the windshield wiper, I think this is where they actually dropped the ball, because these, I don't think these windshield wipers is going to be meant for this particular body, because you can see that they're obviously a lot shorter and it's just not, you know, just not scaled enough. And if you also look up to the one on the back, this one is probably the worst. It's just not, I just don't think this is looking good. So probably I'll just remove it on my build later on, because I just don't like this. Like, next, let's actually just look at the interior. So since this is going to be a British car, you are going to get like right side driving instead of like left side, so it's kind of like unusual for us in the United States. You do get pretty good like brown color like interior. I do think that the plastic, the look does look pretty good. The next is going to be the details on the side panels of your doors. You do see that there is going to be some sort of stuff there, but it's not very detailed. You at least get like a roller for window. The rest of the stuff, I just don't know what are they for, and it just doesn't look that it is kind of like designed to a point that is kind of like the real thing. But you know what, it's fine. All right, next, let's tilt the car over. Let's look at the more important stuff. What drivetrain that you're actually going to be getting. So right, obviously you're going to see that you're going to get metal chassis beams, so pretty standard for the most of the MN models at this time. But what I want you to pay attention for the 168 is that you are actually getting an upgraded type of axle, which is going to be portal axle. So why is this important? Let me just show it to you. So let's bring out a regular axle. So you can see that this is going to be a regular axle. Then you are going to mount everything. Everything is going to be a straight line. You're going to mount your tires right here. You can see this, right? So mount the tires right here. But if we have a portal axles, this is how portal axles are going to be looking like. So you can see that portal axles, instead of a straight line, it kind of deflects the mounting of your tires to a lower location. So you can see, instead of just mounting it right here, it's actually dropping down here. So what this effect is going to be giving you is that you are actually going to be getting a better ground clearance between your tires and the axles. So instead of just like having half, you're actually getting a little bit extra. So this is going to give the MN models supposedly a better slightly performance. So yeah, something that you wanted to pay attention. And next, let's actually just look at the rest of the parts. So the rest of the parts, the stuff that are actually metals, are going to be the CVDs, and basically that's going to be about it. CVDs here and here. The chassis links, the drive links, and the axle covers, these are just going to be in complete plastic, but it's just totally okay, because you're not going to be expecting full metal stuff when you're in this kind of price range. So the next bigger upgrade for the MN168 is that it's actually giving you metal oil filter shocks. So which will supposedly give you slightly better performance, like directly right out of the box, that you don't have to like upgrade it, because that's normally the spring shocks are just not really good. You can see this is going to be the effect. Drop it, do it again, drop it. Okay, let's do some comparison with the older models. So to give you a slight comparison, this is going to be an MN168S from the MN model series as well. So you can see that this is actually having regular spring shocks that is not adjustable. So let's do a quick test. You can see that this is going to be the effect. Drop it. Yeah, so you can see that the oil filter shocks is actually giving the MN168 a lot more performance boost. So this one has to be upgraded by yourself. So yeah. Switching back to the MN168, the next bigger upgrade is going to be on the tires. So you are actually getting B-lock tires, which is pretty big on this one, because I do think this is really good. So what is B-lock tires? Let's actually just remove one so you can take a look at it. So just to do like a quick comparison between a B-lock tire and a regular like slip-on tires, is that slip-on tires are generally, you can just remove them directly like this. And if you're driving like a high-speed car, it probably will just fall off because, like, you know, it's not not secure, and you probably have to glue it in order to like secure it. But B-lock tires are going to be better in a sense that it's actually using like the magnetism to hold it together. So obviously you're going to remove the screws on the back. I already did just to show you. So generally, you can see that you won't be able to remove the B-lock tires. So if you remove the hubcap, it's kind of like the real tire a little bit more. You can see that there is actually a piece that is in the bottom that is holding the tires together. There's going to be a middle rim right here, and there's going to be one piece that is going to go in the back and a front piece that is going in the front. So these two pieces with screws add on, you will be able to hold your tires like in place. It's just not going to be falling off. So this is actually a better upgrade for the car. So talking about the tires, you can see that this is actually using like a 10mm hex compared to the regular 5mm. So this is going to be better because you will be able to get more aftermarket parts to fit onto this, because yeah, most of the tires are going to be in this kind of configuration. Okay, so after the drivetrain, next let's just talk about what electronics that this car is including. So if you wanted to remove the top body, all you have to do is to remove the 4 screws right here. Obviously I did it already, and it's kind of simple. That's only 4 screws holding the top body. So yeah, very easy. After that, you can just easily just take out the top body like this. So for the internal components, you can see that we're actually getting an individual ESC and an individual RX, which is very good, because normally at this kind of price range, you are not going to get a individual stuff. Normally there's going to be 2-in-1, and which is going to be resulting you not be able to upgrade to your personal stuff. So this one, you can just take out the receiver directly and upgrade to whatever receiver that you like in your radio. As for the motor wise, this is going to be a 280 brush motor. So if you want to have more performance, like a little bit more power, you can potentially upgrade to like a 370 brush motor, or you can just completely change out the ESC and also the motor system to like a brushless system. It's going to give you a lot more power for this. Alright, so as for the lighting control, these are going to be the lighting cables. So if you still wanted to use the built-in light control, just make sure you find a receiver that also has light control supported. Alright, as for the servo, we are going to be getting the MN model servo, which is going to be pretty standard, but this one is going to be 25 kilograms and is marketed to be as waterproof, so you should be able to go through some sort of water condition with this one without any issue. But if you wanted to upgrade, you can always upgrade to a metal one. Alright, so next, let's actually do a quick power on test with the remote. So this is going to be the standard MN model remote that you're going to get. It's kind of pretty standard already, and I wish they kind of like generate something that is actually better for the system, because this is just really okay. Okay, so you do require 2 pieces of AA batteries, which is also pretty standard. You have to buy them. They're not going to include them for you, so just make sure you have these. And once you're done adding it in, just, you know, put it back in. So I really like this, that they don't actually have like a little screw that you have to screw it in. So very, very good. Okay, so once you're done, just power it on with the remote, power it on with the switch, and then you're going to flip the car over. You're going to power it up here. Okay, so for the remote, you're going to get pretty standard steering light. Obviously, these are going to be fully proportional steering, and at the back, same as well. You can take a look. So steering lights, pretty standard. You're going to get brake lights. If you look back, it's going to be dimmer, and if you stop, it's going to be much more bigger. So same thing. Okay, so for the front light, and doesn't change at all. Okay. As for the additional buttons right here, you can see that this is going to be the button for you to adjust kind of your tires into the middle. So this is very important. Like this is called trim. So the next button is going to be the lightning button. You can see that if you press it, it's going to kill the light, and if you press it on, it's going to be light up again. But the difference is that if you turn this off, you're still going to get like steering light. So it's kind of pretty standard. So I think it only affects the big light. That's it. Alright, so the next is going to be our throttle. So you can see that obviously fully proportional. Okay, same goes to the back. You do get 2-speed by controlled by ESC, so you press 1. Alright, so this is going to be the slower speed, and this is going to be the faster speed. Alright, so basically that's going to be our bench test. Next, let's actually just head to the field and let's test drive this. Let's get going. Alright, so next we are going to be testing the MN168 to see how good it actually performs in the field. I do have a lot of high hopes for this one because it does have a lot of upgrades that shouldn't be existing on a beginner rig. Alright, so let's actually see how good it goes. Let's start by testing the speed. Okay, so this is going to be the slowest speed on the slower gear. Probably is going to be the same thing, it's just going to be easier for the throttle management. So the modulation, not bad. If you punch it, this is going to be the highest speed you can go. All right, so let's go down. All right, let's make a turn here. Let's climb up this hill. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, so that's the slow speed. You can see that the oil filter shocks, I think it's actually doing a pretty good job, considering that this is complete stock and we haven't tuned it yet. I think if you actually tune it by adding oils, make sure it's balanced, I think it's going to perform much better, because this is just, I don't think it was set up completely. All right, so this is going to be the slow speed. Now let's actually just switch to the higher gear. All right, so you can see that this is going to be the fast speed, and I do think that it's doing a pretty good cross-country movement type of drive. All right, let's pump it. You can see that the modulation and the articulation of the thing, I do think that it's actually pretty good, considering that this is a relatively cheap car that you can start with. The portal axle also, I think it's actually giving it a lot more clearance. So I think this is going to be especially better known when we're doing the route test, because that's when you're almost you will most likely get stuck in something. All right, so next is going to be our standard 45-degree slope test, and you can see that this is going to be a very slippy wooden board. And so far, only the WPL C24 was able to do it, because it has a relatively light top body, and I don't think this one will be able to do it, but let's actually try, because I think we have to add more weight on the bottom. Okay, let's actually go. Oh. Yeah, I don't think it's actually working, but come on. Yeah. Also, I don't know. It doesn't seem that it is stuck in on the bottom, but it's the tires are not grippy enough. It just won't be able to do it. Oh, it actually went over. Yes. Oh wow, it's actually, yeah, I don't know, because it kind of the board actually slipped a little bit, but it actually went up, so I'm pretty happy with the result. All right, so this is probably the first car that was able to do it. No, actually the first one was the WPO, but really happy to see that this one was able to do it. All right, so the next test is going to be our standard tree root trail test. So this will allow us to see how the articulation of the suspension. Let's actually give it a go. All right, so let's put it on the slower gear, easier to control. All right, so as I was saying earlier, because we are having portal axle, I do think that this car is going to perform pretty well in this kind of trail. If because the portal axle will allow us to have a little bit higher clearance compared to like the regular axles, because now you have a little bit, just you can see that it's not stuck into the tree roots. Like, let's actually go through this one again. All right, so you can see that this one is going to be normally the ones I will get stuck at, because like it's pretty deep, but you can see that the portal axle is allowing the truck to like pass through no problem. All right, let's come back again. Oh, you can see that it's actually doing a really good job. It's always fascinating to see how the articulation of the car movements and the modulation, you know, everything just feels nice. You know, it's a different experience compared to drone. It just, when you're seeing this, like, you kind of have to look at it in order to have the fun of it. All right, also, if there's something that I actually wanted to complain about this truck, is that this truck actually has a limited drive angle. So like when you're steering, it's just not a lot. So something that you probably wanted to pay attention when you're just actually getting this truck. But overall, I do think that this is a pretty good bang for buck, and you're just getting so much for the price. All right, so the next test is going to be a standard sand dune test. Let's actually drive in to see how it actually performs. All right, let's go. I don't think it's going to have any problem. Like, we're not getting a lot of rain recently, so this is relatively dry sand, so I think it's pretty representative of the environment. So when it's dry sand, I think it's just going to be a little bit softer in a sense, so probably you're going to have a little bit more challenging to drive around, because it's not, ooh, there's cat poops. Yep, there's just not a lot of stuff that you can, yep. We're driving in the minefield right now, so yeah, be careful. Right, so actually, I think we can just punch our throttle with a higher gear. Yeah, I can see that it's actually performing really well. I'm really surprised at how good this truck was. Alright, so I think that's going to be about it for the sand dune test. Let's actually just exit. I think you can probably know. Oh, whoops. Alright, let's do it again. Alright, we have to punch it. Yes, we got it. Alright. Alright, so the next section is just going to be a regular driving around to see, like, around the complex. Let's just like see like what you can actually feel when you're driving this car. So yeah, it's just like a regular trail run. It does actually look pretty nice when you're driving this car like around. And you definitely can't go like fast, that you have to kind of like walk fast to like keep it up. So I don't know. By looking on top, I just don't like the thing I see about the little windshield wiper. I just don't think that is kind of like scale for this particular rig. So I probably would just remove it, so it just looks weird when you're just looking at it on the back. All right. Yeah, regular pavement road is just boring. Let's go on the grass road, see how it actually performs. Come on, let's go. Ooh, wow, it's actually doing that. Oh, wow. Whoop, what happened? Oh man, you can see that this thing actually fell off. So the servo like arm actually just fell off completely, and I think just completely loose stripped. So yeah, I don't know, maybe a QC issue that I hope that yours won't have this, but by looking at it, they're just using like a regular screw to like secure it into this thing. So if it's loose, it's probably just loose, and there's nothing like a nut on the back. So yeah, we found something that we're disappointed. I think this is something that you can definitely be. Okay, let's actually try to push it back. All right, so I guess it should be fine for us to complete the trail test. All right, so round 2, we kind of like patch it for now. This is something that you probably wanted to be aware if you're buying this truck. I think this is definitely a QC issue that they could do better. Oh my God, you can see that it's just loose again. All right, so I think there's not going to be a lot of stuff that we can say about this truck for now. Let's actually just head back to the bench. We're going to fix this thing, and yeah, let's actually fix it first, and we'll probably just put an FPV camera on top so we can talk about it more.
We hope you enjoyed this brief construction montage.
Alright, so as for the FPV video system, this time we will be using the Walksnail GM3 gimbal system with the Moonlight camera mounted on top. So this thing will allow us to look up and down, left and right, so pretty good. However, because of this thing, it's just a lot of stuff you have to mount. So this time I'm not going to be mounting it inside the car because it's just going to be much more complicated. So we're just going to try it this time. We're just going to try it like this for now, just so we can have the experience just to keep the flow going. Also, if you wanted to know how to connect the Walksnail system together, there's going to be a separate link down below to show you how to do that. Alright, so the footage you're seeing right now is going to be from the Goggles X DVR. You can see that the hat tracking is working pretty nicely. Probably we have to adjust the elevation a little bit, because not elevation, we have to adjust the horizon just a little bit, because right now it does seems that it is just a little bit, yeah, if we put our head straight, it's going to be a little bit tilting over there, but it should be fine. Overall, you can see that most of the motions we are getting, so very nice. All right, let's just drive this now. Okay, so since we're using the original MN model like radio and receiver combo, we won't be able to go really far, so let's just actually start by driving this like on the trail right now. Later on we can go up and see if we can do some of the like cross-country moves a little bit more. Yeah, but you can see that this is definitely fun, because you will now be able to like look around like when you're like driving a car. And I think it's going to even look better if you decided to just start mounting it inside the car, like inside the driver's seat, because in that case it's going to feel like you're actually driving the vehicle. Actually, let's punch it, drive faster. Yeah, I think I need to trim this a little bit. It's kind of like not driving straight. Probably do it later. Oh, you can see that this is what I'm talking about. All right, so let's actually face the radio over there. Yeah, that's the problem with this, is that you sometimes the signal is just not that great. Oh shoot, we just tilled over. All right, so we're cheating a little bit. I went over and manually flipped over, because that's impossible for it to recover itself. Yeah, that's the thing when you're doing this. When you're doing FPV, it's like sometimes you just don't see like the angle of the car movement. And yeah, that's maybe something that you will have to like make sure that you are aware when you are just driving this, because it is just not going to be the same as when you're looking at the car itself. Yeah, but this definitely feels a little bit more like real driving for sure. Okay, let's be careful. Try not to tilt over. Yeah, but for now, just see that you can see everything. Even if you wanted to look up, you can. Yeah, I can see that the tree over there. Yeah, overall, this is a really nice experience. Like when you're driving this, it's much relaxing compared to like driving like FPV, like FPV drones. This is just the experience is different. Yeah, probably this, I will never probably use this on FPV drones because of the thing. Ah, shoot, you can see that we have actually tilting over. Let's actually cheat again. All right, so we have recovered again. And also I had to swap out the battery because of we're mounting a little fan on top. It's just draining the battery like super fast for the VTX. Oh, no, let's back up. I don't want to do it again. Let's do it. Oh no. Okay, let's actually just go really straight. All right. Oh, it's kind of like, doesn't want it to go up. Okay, here we go. And I think this is also letting my, yeah, I think what is happening right now is that we're losing the steering because of, right now, the steering just got loose again, because you saw previously we actually fixed it using like a little glue. But this, I think this is just terrible for MN models to show it like this. It's such a nice car, but they have to use such a cheap part to, you know, use on their servo. But anyway, this is just going to be how it looks like when you're driving in like the FPV view and also the head tracking. So too bad that we're unable to drive this around like in a more fun way, but yep, that's going to be about it for this review, because I think we're going to have to replace the servo arm completely in order to just get a better result, because right now we're only able to go straight and whatever the car wants to go. So yeah, but the part is we will be able to look around. All right, so yep, that's going to be about it for this video. And if you like the content, please help me like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye for now. Yeah, I can see that this thing just completely fell off, even with super glue.